Hello, everybody. This is a bit of an impromptu situation. Look at this. It's going live at 2:20 to 3 on a Monday afternoon. What's going on? Well, we've got Pop Royalty joining us this afternoon, you bunch of belters. How are we doing? Are we feeling good? We are on day one of the Be Heard So You Want to Be a Speaker Challenge. It is popping off in that group. It is amazing. It is just an absolute love fest. It is people having breakthroughs left, right, and centre already. We're only on day one. It's absolutely crackers. But that is not what I am talking to you about this afternoon. I am really, really lucky that I know lots of pretty awesome people. And this particular awesome person has got some things going on right now that I am desperate to share with you. I cannot wait to share some of these things with you. This person that I met in real life last year at a couple of, what am I doing this time of day? I know I'm throwing you lot out, aren't I? You're like, what's going on now? I've got something special for you, Karen. Get a brew. Come and have a snuggle up in here for a minute. So this person I met at a couple of events last year, some fantastic events actually. We met at the Capsule event, Natalie Anderson's wonderful online magazine, The Capsule. I saw this person speak and we hit it off there. And then maybe like a couple of months later, I saw her again speaking. And it was one of those times when I go to speak to someone and I go, we're going to be mates. And I don't know how that's going to look for you, but we're going to be friends now. And tends to be that person goes, oh, okay then. It turns out that this person has become a really good friend of mine, and one that is just achieving the most phenomenal things in a space where she didn't originally plan when she was in the midst of her music career. So I'm going to be sharing with you this afternoon the wonderful and the glorious. Are you ready, Tash, back there? Natasha Hamilton.
Hey!
Hello.
Hello, love. Oh, what a lovely intro.
I know. Like, it's one of my favorite things is bringing people like onto a live. It's the closest thing that I can do to like presenting people on stage anymore. So like, I'd like to think that I've got drum rolls happening in my mind, and there's an applause button when I press the join. You know, like it all goes off in my head.
Love it. I was looking like jazz hands in it. Woo!
So you have literally just gotten off a train after traveling back up to where you are from London, flew through the door, made yourself a brew, sat down and jumped live with me.
Yep. That's how we do it.
Like me, hurtling like a pinball from one thing to another, to another, to another. How are you, for starters? Like, come in here and I'm like, we're just in here having a cuddle and a brew. Have a breathe.
All right. The past few weeks have just been crazy because I've been trying to get a lot of different ideas up and running.
Yeah.
And then obviously they just all happen at the same time. And then it's like, oh my God.
I am absolutely right there with you. So one of the reason why we're live today, and I'm live with Natasha today, you guys, is Natasha has just released a podcast that has charted straight away.
I know. Which is incredible, because what that means is people have loved it enough to actually like review it, say how it's impacted in their lives. Well, I was going to London on Thursday. I got a text message from James from the Ultimate Podcast group who I'm doing it with.
Yeah.
And it's just like top 20 health and wellness podcasts, number 21 on the overall podcast list. And I was just like, what?
Wait, what?
Yeah, because for me, it was a passion project and I just want to help people. Obviously, he's got a business putting podcasts together. So he was like, well, we really want it to chart. And I'm like, oh, okay, no pressure. And when he told me, I was just stood at Chester Station crying. I was like, I just feel really happy because it not only means something to me, it means something to other people as well.
Yeah, I think the thing is, though, Tasha, you're no stranger to charting. I mean, let's be honest. In terms of music, right? In terms of music, you have charted many, many times with an incredible successful career in the music industry. And now to do something in a field that I know, I mean, being your friend, I know just fills your cup up and helps so many people. I think it's almost like an even sweeter win, I think, at this point, because it's all you. It's all come from you. Everything that is in this podcast, everything that is in your businesses right now is everything that you've built. And as your mate, I'm like, go on, girl, because it's a different situation now, isn't it?
Yes, like obviously years ago, you're put on a track and you're kind of manipulated and molded to where it is you need to be successful. Whereas with this, it was, a passion project. Like we went into lockdown. Obviously, we were working together.
Yeah.
And I was like, babe, like all my gigs have like gone. Like I don't like. What am I supposed to do? And you were like, do a Facebook group. Like, and I was like, I don't even really use Facebook. The thought of it scared the shit out of me, to be fair.
Yeah, because you're more active on Instagram, isn't it? Like that's where your public profile is. That's where things really kind of happen for you out on Instagram, isn't it?
And that's like a shop window, whereas Facebook's like the shop.
Yeah.
People are coming in and they're actually getting up close and personal and they're talking to you. And the whole imposter syndrome was like, who on earth would want to join my group?
Mm-hmm.
So you were like, well, just give it a go.
Yeah.
So I started too because I couldn't decide what niche. I was like, it was either going to be like something to do with lockdown and the kids. And it was called like Lockdown Madness and Fun or something.
Yeah.
Or Live Better with Natasha, because I was like, well, if I'm feeling really overwhelmed and I'm starting to get all these feelings and emotions and like so many other people must be feeling like that. And I was like, well, I do know quite a few awesome people, so I'll just get them to come and talk in my group. There was no business plan. It wasn't like I knew exactly what I was doing. Yeah. It was very organic and off like the cuff. And I just spent a bit of time on both. I think Lockdown Fitness and Fun lasted 2 weeks, not even that.
Because then it was like, you never work with children and animals, and you learned very, very quickly that it wasn't working with children as well as having children that you wanted to do.
My kids were killing each other live on Facebook. I was stood behind the camera going, I'm going to kill you. Stop arguing. I was just like, it gave me so much anxiety. Let's do a live baking on Facebook. Like that's not me. Like,
what could go wrong?
What possibly could go wrong? So I decided that wasn't for me. But I really started to enjoy the Live Better with Natasha side because people were really engaging. I think we lost our physical community. So to bring this online community and support each other, and people were talking openly, and I was bringing in people who were just like help and support others. It just all started to build, and I was like, oh my God, like this feels really rewarding.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like you get to a point in your life, you don't want to do stuff that doesn't make you feel good. You want to get up in the morning, you want to feel excited, you want to feel inspired. And like I've always had my interest in wellness. Like I'm a trained beautician, I'm trained in holistic therapies. I've had my own skin clinic last year. And so I'm all about making people feel better about themselves. Like that's what I love. I did it through music when I was younger. And then that's transitioned over the years.
And you really practice what you preach with regards to this as well, in terms of, looking after yourself. You share, your own fitness journey. You practice different types of eating and different types of food and what have you to nourish yourself better, and you share these things. And also you've become this fabulous, like for want of a better word, like a conduit for other health and wellness professionals to come together. So there is no stone unturned with the things that you talk about as well in your group, isn't it? You've been talking about mental wellness, physical wellness, sexual wellness, relationship wellness, all of it.
Yeah, spiritual as well, which is actually, I'm really vibing on the spiritual side, because I think wellness and your well-being, you have to approach it from every angle. Like, it can't just all be great diet, but then you're not looking at your mindset or what's making you feel the way you feel, why you've got these repeat patterns going on in your life, why you're always making the same wrong decisions and all that. And I just feel I'm at a point in my life where I don't fear the unknown anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I will happily go on live on Instagram or in Facebook and just be like, this is what I've been going through. This is how I feel. This is something I've done and it's made me feel like this. Like, I just want to help out, open people's minds to other ways of feeling good within yourself. And one thing I've learned is you can't just dip in and out of it. You have to just work at it all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't, I'll have days where I'm just like, I'm not kind to myself, or, I take on too much. And I'm like, but then I'm like, okay, so I can retreat and I can go talk about things on my podcast and I can help people and do this and do that. And it's just this constant like revolving wheel, but it's a wheel I like being on.
Yeah. And I think that sharing your learning journey, because I think what's beautiful for me again is somebody who's watched you really step into this year, watching you learn as you go as well is really inspiring, because nobody turns up in this situation knowing it all. And it's not about Live Better with Natasha is not about turning up and knowing it all. It's you're on your journey as well. So every time you do a live with an expert, every time you go through a process, every time you check in with yourself, you're sharing your journey as well. It's really inspiring to other people that people in the media don't have it all together all the time, but you can still lead. In fact, using your platform to do this now, when wellness is really becoming the thing to be being aware of. It's so, for so long we've been conditioned to think about things and to think about, it's the parties, it's the drink, it's the this, it's that, it's the other. When actually, when you come full circle through that, if you do not have your wellness, and this is not just like physical health, if you don't have your wellness, like behind the eyes, between the ears, connected to your spirit type wellness, it's really hard to stay tethered and to watch you on your journey as you learn about this and bring all this together for your audience. It's ace. Like, I am so into this journey, like with you, like watching you being a fan, being a friend, and seeing other people come along this journey with you. It's fantastic, mate. It really, really is.
But I've had amazing people like yourself who nurtured me and supported me and helped me find what it is I was looking for. And what it all comes down to is it all begins with you. Like, you are your own savior. So you can pick all the little things to help you along on your journey, but it all starts in here. So you have to love who you are. You need to accept the good, the bad, and the ugly. You need to heal. You need to stop berating yourself for maybe decisions you made that weren't the best. But do you know what? It happened.
Yeah.
It's all about healing from your past and just going on this new journey and being open to different ways of different types of help, I suppose.
Yeah.
In my head, I think I was always like, and maybe a little bit of a pity party, like a bit like, oh, poor me, why me? Like, why have I had to go through all these things? Like, I've been through a lot of shit in the past 18 years, like since my son, like having my son. My life has been like massive highs and mega lows and everything in between.
Yeah.
And this year it was like, well, what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
What are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do about it? Exactly that.
So I just feel like I have found my inner warrior and I'm nurturing her. And she's not always like a strong, powerful warrior, but she's there and she's like, you're all right. You can do this.
Yeah.
And all different aspects of wellness and well-being, they just nurture that inner warrior and just walk you up, make you feel good.
Yeah. I think as well, I don't know if you found this, if we go back to February and you came and shared parts of your story on the Be Inspired stage that you hadn't really felt particularly comfortable about sharing before, because it was very much taking off the pop star hat and being Natasha Hamilton, not skin clinician, not health and wellness, just you, like mum, you, person who's had experiences that we've all had, things like postnatal depression, things like, you know, coming through those things like having to pivot in your 30s, like loads of us do it. Yeah, who do you think? Yeah, who are you calling irrelevant? Like, you stood on that stage and you started to talk of yourself in a way that I had not seen you do in the media before, and I'd not seen you do, even when I'd seen you speak, it was very much about kind of the things that you were doing, and you were sharing the things that you would do, whereas this is you. Raw. This is very much a raw, this is very much like the raw, stripped back, but still super fucking glamorous and beautiful and still doing incredible things, but it's so much more you and so much less everything else, that I think that's what makes it really powerful. People are getting all of this journey from you.
I mean, I stood on your stage and I freaking started crying. Like, I literally was like, because, you know, I'm still healing from my past.
Yeah.
I'm still working on that.
Yeah.
And to literally, it was like, you know, you're peeling off that scab. And I did it on stage. And I knew it was coming because I was so nervous. And I was nervous because I knew I was doing something that I'd never done before. And it was more like a warts and all, and acknowledging the pain and the hurt that I'd been through from my experiences of, you know, becoming a mum at a young age, leaving my world of being a pop star to become a mum, because there was no way of bridging the gap. Like, I wasn't being supported. I was crying every day. My son used to go to my mum more than he'd come to me. And I was just like, what life is this? Like, this is not why I had a baby. Picking someone else to bring it up while I'm crying every day, lost. So to make such a massive decision at such a young age was huge. And so much pain connected to everything I went through on that journey. Because it was also saying goodbye to something that I loved, and I did love previously, and I was really proud of, and I'd achieved so much. But it was like, I can't do this anymore. Even now, it's like that emotion is so raw. It's there, and I think it always will be. Like, they carve who you are as a person, those events in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So to just talk honestly and open about it, it was terrifying, but everyone had my back.
I remember stood in the front like, fucking look at me. Come on.
Everyone in that room was like, go on, Tash. And I was like, okay, just get it out. And it was like, wow.
Yeah.
And that created a massive energy shift within me, because even though it was a little bit uncomfortable, I was still safe. I was in a safe environment, you know. I still felt loved. I didn't feel like I didn't regret it. If anything, it was like a transition in me after that event.
Yeah. And then if you look at all the fab things that you've kind of gone on to create and are still creating, there's lots of incredible things to come as well. I've really come from that place of just owning the bejesus out of yourself now. There's no hiding anymore. You've stopped hiding from yourself, and it was beautiful to watch. And it's been beautiful to watch ever since. So tell us more about the podcast. Like, what happens in the podcast? What's the premise of the podcast? Tell me.
Well, we don't have like a specific format in the sense that it's someone sharing their professional opinion on something. People come in and I'm like, tell me about you. Like, how are you on your journey of wellness? Like, they might be a life coach now, but what brought them to be a life coach? They'll share some tips. You know, there's people in the public eye who are bringing to share their stories of how, I mean, we kind of know that behind the smiles, behind the glitz and glamour is a whole different world. But I think it's all, you know, it's important to share those stories and for people to hear them as well, because, you know, you can kind of just think, oh, what's she got to be miserable about because they, you know, they're on.
You only see one bit. It's a faceted diamond, and you only see one side of it when you're presented with it by the media. So
and debates, conversations, exploring topics, and it's just it all. I'm still learning the ropes. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm a freaking podcaster now.
Just add it to the string to your balls. But it is, and people do want to know. People do want the inside scoop, and you do it so compellingly. Like, no wonder it's charted straight away. A, because you've got wonderful support from the people that do support you, but also the content is bang on. It's so good. Like, if we look at the reviews that have come through already, the reviews are like, go tell us about these reviews, because they're bloody brilliant, and I want you to say them. I'm not saying them. You've got to say it. Sit on your spine.
I can't remember them off the top of my head. But basically saying thank you for the honesty, for being open. Like I've cried. Yeah, my first bit that I recorded, like I got really upset and I cried because I'm like freaking tiny tears. I am. I cried here. I cried freaking everywhere. This is it. I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm like a normal woman with a few issues that I'm still healing from, but I'm trying to make a positive impact.
Yeah.
I don't have to be perfect right now. I actually never have to be perfect. No one ever does. And that's why I just want to show up as the real, authentic me. I repeat, I have not got my shit together. I wake up every day and I think, when are you going to figure it out?
When are we going to know?
Yeah, I've just got to a point now and I'm like, oh, what else? Doesn't matter.
What's next? Come on, let's bring it. We'll just do this next thing.
Yeah, like I'm just like in my head, I want to do a job or jobs that I love. I want to support my family, and I just want to help, support, and inspire other people.
Yeah,
that's like my little life mantra. And you know, and then what's happened now is I feel like because I'm vibrating on this like on an energy where I've accepted everything and I'm ready to move forward.
Yeah.
Other things are starting to happen. Like I did put out to the universe a few months ago that I wanted to do a podcast. I was like, I want to do a podcast. I started speaking to a few different people. Some of them weren't, you know, you've got to vibe with someone.
You've got to vibe with the people that you're working with, yeah.
But I never said it publicly. And then all of a sudden I open my DMs and this guy's like, hey, so we're doing this podcast, blah, blah, blah. We wondered if you'd be interested to talk. And I was like,
yes.
I was like, okay, follow the signs.
We're going to do this thing then.
I was like, I want to do a podcast. I can't believe this message has just come into my DMs. And that was it. I just knew that's what I had to do.
And then you've gone on to create, and it's charted straight away. Tash, we've got loads of people asking us, how do we get hold of this? It's Live Better with Natasha across the platforms. If you search on Spotify, on Apple, iTunes, Android, the Google Play Store, you can find it. Live Better with Natasha. We will put the links in here as well. What are some of the guests that you've shared in this raft? Because I know this isn't just the first series. You know, there's going to be more of these to come.
Oh, so there's 3 episodes on there at the moment. There's a brief one about how I got to where I am now. Mm-hmm. We've got the incredible Dame Kelly Holmes, double gold medal Olympian. I met her
just casual Dame Kelly Holmes.
Well, I met her at a speaking event, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
I literally got my first, like after your event, I got my first paid for speaking event. I was like, oh my God, I was like, Daddy, we did it.
It's happening.
It happened. And then I had another one and got a freaking eye infection.
I know.
I was like, this is like typical like shit that happens to me. So Dame Kelly Holmes, she talks about her struggles. Like you think of an Olympian as this, you know, this elite athlete, they've got the shit together, they're focused, you know, they're like very rigid in what they're doing. But her reality was she was struggling to cope and she started to self-harm. And she was doing that literally as she was like in the Olympics, like training for the Olympics.
God.
You know, like trying to conceal what she was, you know, how she was hurting herself. I mean, obviously Olympians don't wear very much, and she was like really struggling. She shared about the death of her mum and how that impacted so greatly in her life, but how that was the catalyst to stop her from self-harming, and the mindset that she had to undertake and how she's healed from that. Powerful story. Like when I spoke to her, I was just like, wow.
Yeah, and you don't expect, just like I guess when you start talking, or when I start talking about like my past or things like that, people see you where you are, or people see you as you showed yourself, but people don't see behind the curtain. So when people start, I mean, especially people like Dame Kelly Holmes, especially people in the public eye like you, when we start sharing these things, it becomes a great leveler. Like when you realize that we are all human, we do have these struggles, and just because you only see one bit, you see in the work bit, you see in the job bit, just like and when you go to see your accountant, you don't see your accountant having a breakdown. You don't, do you know what? You don't expect it of them.
We've all got the public persona and the actual persona.
And then what's actually going on. And actually, when we start to break down those walls and we see that we are all so much more similar than what we give ourselves permission to be, then we can connect better, and we can understand each other better, and we can be kinder to each other, and all of this. And I think, you know, having Dave Kelly Holmes share that story is just absolutely phenomenal. And
I just loved, the honesty about it all was just like, wow. And it breaks down barriers.
Yeah.
I think, oh, well, you know, God, if that's happened to someone like her, like, and she's been able to sort it out, because they're like, that's proper trauma. Like, that's trauma. So I was just like incredibly grateful for her sharing that. Matt Johnson off from the telly.
Matt Johnson off telly.
He's such a gorgeous man. And the fact that he's openly spoken about his mental health issues, you know, he went through some trauma when he was younger, and it just made so much sense to me. So it was like, are you still making decisions now as an adult from what carved you as a child?
Yeah, absolutely.
And like this year alone, I've done some like really inner healing work, like life coaching, like regression. Like I've gone to
the places, haven't you? You've been to the places.
Yeah. And it just made me realize, well, if I just shone a light on it, it wasn't as scary as it seemed. So like he was incredible. I've got loads of people coming up as well. I just do like days where I'm in back to back to back. But yeah, this is going to be a continual thing. And then off the back of the podcast, what I really want to do, well, I wanted to do my first ever Live Better Wellness Retreat December time. But I just think with the uncertainty, with everything that's going on, instead of going hell for leather on something that might just not happen in the end.
It might not, yeah.
I'm looking to like springtime. And then that way, it just gives me time to learn the ropes, because I ain't done this before.
I've not done this before, but like we've talked about like what your plans are for it, what you want to bring to the table for this, for the Live Better with Natasha Wellness Retreat. It is gonna be insane, and you know what? Needed. Like, I can't wait, because I need it too. You need it. We need it.
Let's get these retreats, and they're going to be. There will be a big holistic side to it. It'll be really nurturing, healing, inspiring. Just like fill your cup up so it's like
overflowing, and you're ready to. And then people like to do things like that, to go on retreats like that, really do make a difference to your productivity, really make a difference to your mental health. And when you've got things like that to look forward to, you've almost got like something to strive for. If you're feeling like your cup's a bit empty, come on, who isn't feeling like that right now? You know, like living in that pressure cooker, living in that uncertainty, to have these things to look forward to are just brilliant. I cannot wait. In fact, when you're ready with this, you're going to come back onto the on the show at Rise Up Show, and we'll do a big celebration when you're pressing the button on that as well. I cannot wait. Tash, I love you. Thank you so much. It's not even a lovey I love you, like I love you. Thank you so much for coming to join us. We will be sharing all of the links on the Queen Bee, Danny, in the Hive and all over the place for the podcast. Congratulations, Mrs. Because someone's asking, can we ask, do you eat pineapple on pizza?
Yes.
Yes, that's all right. So I did a group live in somewhere on Friday, and there was, when people go live in this particular group, they get asked 2 questions. 1, do they eat pineapple on pizza? And 2, is it Yorkshire or Lancashire tea if you're drinking tea? I don't drink tea, but we have Yorkshire biscuit tea in the house.
I drink Earl Grey. Sorry.
Darling, bergamot.
I don't have milk in my tea. I actually used to really hate Earl Grey, and now I like
it. I think when you kind of get a taste, especially like for herbal teas, how middle class do we sound? But like when you get a taste for herbal tea, listen to this. I bought some fresh mint yesterday to have fresh mint tea and honey. Like,
listen, I drink Earl Grey, but if you were to go and look in my kitchen now, it's like a dump. And it's a bit like a squat at the moment.
Like, right,
Earl Grey.
Well, cheers to you and your Earl Grey. And no, we're not sipping it on tea. None of time for that. You've got to have it in a mug. You've got to be plenty of it. Thank you so much for coming to join us. Go and sit down and go put your feet up before you go and grab the kids.
Still run and then tea. And then relax.
Right. Congratulations, my darling. We're going to share the links. I love you, and I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Where's my mouse gone? I can't stop the live. That's it. You're stuck live with me now forever. No, you're not. I'm only joking. We'll stop it. Bye.
Bye.